Hey guys, it's Kelsey with another scrapbooking process video. This one I'm trying to use up some of my 6x6 paper pads. So this one is the Cedar Lane by Paislee. I've used up about half of it, and this layout probably uses up a good chunk of what's left, so I'm just going through and picking out any pattern papers that I think I might want to use. And then I'm also pulling out the DCWV Peachy Evergreen collection, which coordinates pretty well. I'm going to try and mostly use the 6x6 paper pad, but I did pull out that 12x12 stack just for some larger elements that needed to be larger than 6x6. I really liked how that photo looked as a 4x6, but obviously when you're trying to use the 6x6 paper pads, it's really hard to get a lot of mats in when your picture's already 6 inches wide, so that's why I trimmed it down to 4x4. So I'm going to use almost all of those sheets I pulled out and just layer up the square mats, and I really like how that ends up looking. Each of those mats are just going to be 1/4 of an inch larger than the one before. And I know I want to use up the 6x6 paper pad, but I can't help myself. I have to gut these papers. In my mind, even though I want to use up these papers, I can't help but thinking, just in case I need to make a handmade embellishment that coordinates, I want some of those papers left so I have something to work with. And now I'm just going back through the Peachy Evergreen stack to find some coordinating papers to do some larger layers. This photo was taken at the dog park, so I really like those trees with those deer. And then I pulled out that green paper because I wanted to bring out the green in the photo. Not quite sure what I'm doing with those yet, but I'm just going to go ahead and glue all of these layers together as the photo mat, because at least I know that's a sure thing. So as soon as I laid that paper over the pink paper, I wanted that to be the design. I just cut 4 inches so it covered 1/3 of that background, and I really like how that looks. I went straight for my washi tape because I kept thinking I wanted to add a border between those 2 layers. So I pulled out all the coordinating washi tape, but again, I don't end up using any. And then I just trimmed off the pink paper that was going to be covered. I don't have any issues with papers being flimsy when I piece them together like this because they go straight into the page protectors, so I'd rather keep that pink piece for another layout. So here I'm just adding a larger layer with that green, and I like that torn edge. There was a lot of straight edges here, so I thought that broke it up just enough. Now I'm trying to use that the other 6x6 paper, so I end up just running a horizontal strip there. Sorry, my Nook is charging. That's what those sounds are. So these are my base layers, and I'm going to try and build from there. This layout, I really wanted to try and use up some stuff that's been sitting in my stash, so the 6x6 paper pad was a big one. So I'm just going to go through all the cut aparts to see what I can start building up my layers with. So those are all the cut aparts from the 6x6 Cedar Lane. I'm also going to go through the Peachy Evergreen cut aparts. There they are. Sorry if you hear my dog in the background. Those cork pieces came in some Happy Mail from Maura. Thank you, Maura. And then I also pull out a sticker sheet from Giselle from this past International Scrapbooking Day. Thank you both for the Happy Mail. I'm trying to get them on pages, and I'm trying not to hoard them. So I'm just trying to layer up some pieces. I really like that journaling piece up at the top, but it is a darker element, so I cut off the part that's going to be tucked behind anyways to stretch to the bottom of the page. And that just helps add some balance. And I have that little scrap there. I don't like throwing away even those bits of scraps because that little piece came in handy. I just punched from the little pieces that were left of that scallop circle that I spread around the page. that little sticker sheet there with the butterflies and arrows, that's the one that Giselle sent me, and I'm trying to use it up. It's very cute. It coordinates perfectly with these papers, so I'm hoping I can get a good bit of that sheet on here. Now I'm just going through, both of those are Simple Stories decorative brads. One of them is the Faith collection, the other one is Domestic Bliss. And I'm pulling out basically all of the green and pink brads. So I'm going to cluster those in 3 separate areas. I don't really have pictures of potted plants, so even though 2 of these are potted plants and we're at a park outside, I still thought the colors were perfect enough, and it's a plant, we're outside, it goes for me. I'd rather get it used up than it sit in my stash, because I really don't think I'm going to be scrapbooking a potted plant anytime soon. And now it just is standing out to me, that wood grain mat that's in the middle of that photo mat. I really wanted to pull in some more of that wood grain chevron. So I'm just taking some branding strips in that print and trying to spread them around the page. I feel like adding it as a horizontal element and just that little bit of vertical element that makes the border between the 2 background papers really help kind of ground that wood grain. And now I'm just fiddling with the brads, getting them all put down. That's my little brad tool. It's super cool because it has a piercing side and then it has a side that kind of folds down the legs for you. Before I had that, I would always hurt my fingernails because I would get those little legs caught between my fingernails and my fingers, so that's been a lifesaver. And then all I did was I just put some washi tape over the brads so they wouldn't poke the page that was going to be behind that one in the album. And I'm just doing the title. I tried to think of a clever title, but I ended up just going with Dog Park. That's where we were, and it made sense, and it looked good, so that's what I went with. That's the Rootbeer float thickers, those white ones. I'm not quite sure where the cork ones came from, and then I'm just really trying to use up those cork elements that Morris sent me. They're super cute, and they've been sitting in my stash for over a year now, so I was really happy to get them used up. So I'm just going to glue those down with my Tombow Mono Multi Glue. I really like how the cork pulls out the browns. And then now I'm getting those hearts on there. My boyfriend comes in at this point. You can't see him, but he's helping me decide where those hearts go. He likes to get involved when he can. So now I'm working on that journaling card. I really thought I would do the journaling in green. I try out a few green pens though, and none of them really match, so I end up going with my Recollections chocolate brown pen. So I'm just testing all the pens I do have before I end up going to my brown. And I don't do too much after this. After I finished filming, I went back to that sticker sheet that Giselle sent me and add a few of the arrows from that sheet on there, which you'll see in these pictures. But no nuva drops, no enamel dots. I really thought that those brads added that element, so I'm super pleased with how it looked. I'm glad I got that stuff out of my stash and on a page. Thanks guys for watching. Bye.